An update now to the story that broke yesterday here on CBS News 24/7. Of course, we're talking about that tragic and deadly shooting at that Wisconsin Christian school. 3 people killed, including the suspected shooter. That shooter identified at this hour by police as a 15-year-old female student at Abundant Life Christian School. The victims include 1 teacher and 1 teenage student. Their names will not be released until officers speak with family members. The Madison community now grieves those losses as officials piece together how this tragedy happened. Police Chief Sean Barnes had this to say about a potential motive and the shooter's background. Listen.
We know that her family is cooperating with all investigation right now. We'll spend a lot of time today going through some items that we took from her house as a result of a search. We'll look through her social media, talk to some of her friends, and really try to piece together how a 15-year-old was able to do something like this in such a short amount of time. There's been a lot on social media posted by people who allege that they're her friends, describing different motives. We're trying to track those people down to talk to them and figure out what happened. But what we do know is that this child obviously was very troubled. There's usually some type of warning signs that we all may have missed. And so we have to understand that we have to come together as a community. We have to wrap our arms around our children and understand what's going on in their lives.
Police Chief Sean Barnes there. So let's go live now to CBS News Homeland and Security Justice reporter Nicole Sganga. Nicole, a lot to unpack here. Walk us through how the FBI and those other federal agencies respond in a situation like this. And even though this is a local crime, what is their role in bringing in the feds?
Well, there are 3 key pieces of this investigation that federal law enforcement, the FBI and ATF, will partner with police on the ground, and in particular Madison police, to investigate. Number 1, the gun. We know there was a 9mm pistol that was recovered from the scene, from that study hall during the class day following the tragedy that played out. ATF will trace that weapon using any markings on the gun, any serial number, to determine the manufacturer, the retail history, and perhaps most importantly, read who did that gun belong to. Of course, we know in Wisconsin, not legal to purchase a gun at the young age of 15 years old. So looking to fill in some of those blanks there. Beyond that, the motive here and whether or not this individual, this 15-year-old Natalie Rupnow, who goes by Samantha, according to investigators, really had any ideology that she was driven by. Were the 2 victims here that were shot dead and the 6 others that were injured on the scene, were they targeted, or was this a sort of more random attack? We do know at this point, investigators have said that this played out during the school day, that there was no forced entry of the school, but still questions about why. And in addition to processing the scene there, FBI will assist local law enforcement in doing an online digital forensic scrub, as it's called, looking through her social media accounts, her communications in the days leading up to that. We know that police have already, searched the home of Natalie Rupnow to determine, whether or not there were any clues there, any electronics that they might have found that could point to a possible motive there. And lastly, we do know that law enforcement and the FBI are working on creating a timeline of events, what happened in the hours leading up to this shooting.
So, Nicole, as it relates to tracing that gun, is there the potential that whoever owned that gun could also be in trouble? And then how does the shooter's age and gender play into this investigation?
Well, certainly this is an unusual profile for a shooter. In fact, this year so far, the K-12 school database has tracked a number of school shootings, but there have been 249 male shooters and just 9 female shooters. So it gives you a sense of really how rare this kind of profile is, to say nothing of the fact that this shooter was 15 years old. Now, as to whether or not her parents could be found liable, Wisconsin does have some state laws on the book. At this point, police are saying that there is no criminal investigation into the parents of the suspect here. But of course, that could change. We saw earlier this year that fatal school shooting in Appalachia, Georgia, and the gunman there, Colt Gray, his father, Colin Gray, 2 charges against him, of second-degree murder for, expressly supplying the AR-style rifle in that shooting. We, of course, know that at the school shooting in Oxford, Michigan, back in 2021, both parents of Ethan Crumley were sentenced for 10 years, for their role in providing that firearm to their son. So certainly there is some precedent to potential legal liability for the parents, but it's too soon to say at this point, Reed. Investigators still trying to sort out, not only who this gun belonged to, but also, how did the suspect here get a hold of that gun, and whether or not, parents or other folks were aware. We do know that the school in this case did not have any metal detectors, but school officials have said that they typically complete a visual scan of students as they walk through the building. And there are going to be a number of questions in the days and weeks ahead about how they can, safeguard the school and ensure that nothing like this ever happens again.
Nicole Sganga, we appreciate your reporting there. Thank you so much. By the way, for our viewers, Madison police expected to hold a briefing on that shooting at 2 p.m. Eastern. We will be there. We will bring that to you as soon as we see it. You'll see it here on CBS News 24/7.